Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Dinnie in Virginia, the podcast, live here in Chesapeake, Virginia, in my messy desk. Yes, it is still messy, but I will fix that soon enough. So, today is the very first episode, technically, of Dinnie in Virginia, the podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dinnie in Virginia. I'm your host, Dinnie, here in Virginia. Where in Virginia, you might ask? I've already done this intro. I'm in Chesapeake, Virginia, at my messy desk. Anyway, as I was saying, this is the very first installment of the Dinnie and Virginie, the podcast. And I still have not decided if I want to utilize the word potty in the entire thing, but that's besides the point. It might be an inside joke. It might not be. That's okay. We are live. We are rolling. And that's what counts. We took action, and that's what's important. So I just wanted to go live today and start the podcast because I said I would start the podcast. And so you guys are going to hold me accountable because if I said it, then I actually have to do it. So here I am actually doing it. This is not the very first episode. It's not the official episode 1 per se. It is more like episode 0, as you can tell by the title, because this is just an introduction to Dinnie and Virginie in podcast form. So, what is Dinnie and Virginie the podcast? So, Dinnie and Virginie the podcast is actually me, Dinnie, living here in Virginia, the great state of Virginia. That is, for those of you who are not in the know. And basically, I just want to showcase all of the wonderful people, places, things that we have here in the great state of Virginia. So I did this as an introduction so that you guys know what this podcast is going to be all about. I'm letting you know that this podcast is going to be really janky because it's going to be live because I hate editing. One day I will get over that, but for right now, I hate editing, so we're just going to do stuff live. So I live in a household with other people, so sometimes there could be noises, there could be interruptions, there could be other things among other things. I could stumble over my words like I am doing right now. I'm not the best planner, but the laundry could finish as we're going live. You know, things could happen, but that is okay because we're starting and that's what's important. So, on today's episode 0, Intro to the Pod, I've already told you that Dinnie and Virginia, the podcast, is about me, Dinnie, who lives in the state of Virginia. And I just basically go around, I do free things, I go to paid events, free events, and I just showcase the wonderful things about my state. And basically, one question that I wanted to answer that has never been asked is what is the schedule going to be for Dinnie and Virginia live? At the moment, I do not have a set schedule. It's just going to be whenever I feel like it. So that's how it's going to be now, but I do want to incorporate a solid schedule in the future. But for now, we're just trying to get this thing out there. We're just trying to get comfortable in front of the camera. We're getting comfortable using our podcast voice and not our regular voice. We are getting comfortable actually doing the action that we said we are taking. So for now, we do not have a set schedule. However, in the future, I do plan on having a regular schedule of going live. Hopefully, in the future, I'll have my own Dinnie and Virginia HQ or something where I have a space just to film the podcast instead of, filming at my messy desk. And as time goes on, guys, we're going to get better. We're going to get better about exposing things and people and places in Virginia. We're going to get better about uploading regularly. We're going to get better about how we speak. We're going to get better about how we present ourselves. We're going to get a better background, that's for sure. I definitely need a better background. And we're going to get a better mug because I don't have my mug on me, but I do not have a I Love Virginia mug. And I feel like that's just kind of mandatory for Dinnie and Virginia to have. So you can't have a podcast without a drinking mug. I might get parched and I will have nothing to drink. So that's one of my goals. FYI, I am oversharing information with you guys because I'm nervous because this is the very first live of Dinnie and Virginia, the podcast. So this is what we intend to do. We intend to expose the wonderful, great, awesome people, places, and things that are in the great state of Virginia. And we plan on uploading regularly in the future, but right now it's whenever I feel like it because I am in control and I have been a regular. So until I become regulated, we will be just uploading as we see fit because this show is live. And so if I don't feel like doing it, it's not going to get done. Lastly, what is the difference between Dinnie and Virginia, the podcast, and Dinnie After Hours? For those of you who might be following me who may have seen some of my other lives, it has been the show of Dinnie After Hours. Now, the difference is that Dinnie and Virginia, the podcast, is mainly Virginia centric. So I'm really, really trying to hone in and focus on learning about the state, exposing wonderful people about in the state, wonderful Virginians, wonderful places in the state, everything that has to do about Virginia. I really want Dinnie and Virginnie, the podcast, to be very, very, very Virginia centric. Whereas Dinnie After Hours, if you've seen some of my past episodes, is not necessarily always Virginia centric. It's just mainly been me babbling really, really late at night in delirium whenever I feel like going live. So that is just going to be where I just kind of like vent, I guess. You're going to see more of Dinnie in Dinnie After Hours versus Dinnie and Virginie, the podcast. You're going to see more of Virginnie. So if you want more Virginnie, come to Dinnie and Virginie, the podcast. If you want more of Dinnie, go to Dinnie After Hours. So that was the last thing that I had for today's episode 0 of Dinnie and Virginie, the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully for episode 1, I will be much, much better prepared. I will get some of the bumps out of the way, and you guys will actually have some good Virginia content. So until next time, Dinnie out.